So we can't even deal with what's fair. But he's stuck in the fact that it's not fair. I don't deserve that. They were wrong. I used to be a state legislator in Columbus, Ohio. During the break, we used to go out on the front lawn of the Ohio legislature, at the Capitol there, and observe people as they came by. There was one particular person that all of us knew. The children, adults, everybody used to pick at him when he came by. We called him Chicken Man. He had a feather in his hat. He had a toy chicken on top of his car that he would drive around the area in downtown, blinking his lights and occasionally blowing his horn. When he got out of his car, he would walk downtown with a baby carriage with two little baby dolls in there and a picture of a woman. And when you say something to him or came near him, you would hear him making the sounds of a chicken. All of us used to laugh at Chicken Man. We didn't know Chicken Man's story. Chicken Man woke up one morning around 3 a.m. and his house was on fire. He panicked and he got out of the window and left quickly, only to get outside to hear his children and his wife screaming for help. He ran back to the door to go in to save them, and the flames were too hot, too awesome. He tried to get in, he couldn't get in. He was desperate, frantic. Pretty soon the cries stopped. They perished in the fire. His brother-in-law came, found out that his sister had died and his nieces in the fire, grabbed Chicken Man and started beating him. "You chicken, why did you save my sister? You're chicken, you're a chicken." When the people pulled him off Chicken Man, they picked him up and said, "Are you all right?" And Chicken Man looked at him and he started making the sounds of a chicken. He never ever overcame that tragedy. He was stuck from that experience. None of us knew why Chicken Man went around with this picture and these little dolls.
A good question to ask before undertaking any project or setting any new objective, then, is what are the most important half-dozen things that will make the major difference in how it works out? So whether the enterprise is art or architecture, music or sculpture, mathematics or sports, business or farming, success or lifestyle, it's the fundamentals that count. To understand them and to practice them is to take the first intelligent step toward accomplishing your objectives and living your dreams. The second key word for us to consider is wealth. Wealth is a word that brings about a wide variety of mental images, and that is part of my purpose in these cassettes, to provoke that wide variety of mental images, for that is where the dreams are, that is where the inspiration comes from, and that is where true incentive is born. The mystery and mixture of mental image, the stuff and the staff of life. Its right use, its constant use is the way to a life unique and a life abundant. Now, to one, wealth means having enough financial substance to be able to do whatever you wish to do with your life. To another, it may mean freedom from debt, freedom from the constant claim of obligation. To yet another, it means opportunity. And to many, wealth means $1 million. That's a unique word, millionaire. It rings of success, freedom, power, influence, pleasure, possibility, benevolence, and excitement. Not a bad mental image.
If you look at the wall, you run into it. You cannot even look at the wall, you pull the steering wheel into the wall. So when there's a crash at 215 miles an hour and there's smoke everywhere, we are trained to drive right into the smoke. Can you imagine that? Imagine the fear level of driving into the smoke at 200 miles an hour when you know there are crashed cars in front of you. That's what you do as a driver to win. That's what you do as an entrepreneur to win. That's what they do as an entrepreneur. My fever's like 110. All right, so you gotta be willing to drive in there. Here we go. You got 8 years left. Want to learn to bend time? You want some help with time? How do we manipulate those 8 years? Do you want to know, yes or no? Okay, here's how you manipulate that time. Who says a day is 24 hours? Who says that? Someone just made that crap up. Why can't a day be 23 hours? Why can't a day be 8 hours? A day can be 8 hours, by the way. I started it 10 years ago. I run 8-hour days. People that are successful in a bigger hurry, they're faster. They walk faster, talk faster, they move faster. This is something you're going to need to adopt. You don't need to be loud and intense like me, but you gotta move, think, and walk and talk faster. Speed matters. So I run 8-hour days. My first day, you can do it however the heck you want, but my first day, I run 3 mini days. They're actually each 6 hours. My first day is from 6 a.m. to noon. That's a day. Have you ever had a day where you got more accomplished the first 3 hours than you do in a normal whole day? Yes or no? So did I. And I started thinking, well, then what the hell do I measure this stuff by 24 hours for? So many years ago, I went, my day is 6 a.m. to noon. I let the rest of the world have their day. I'm trying to run a whole day schedule of calls, appointments, contacts, meetings, executions, return of emails, whatever it is, from 6 a.m. to noon. That is the end of my day. Day 2 starts from noon to 6 p.m. That's my second day. I got 2 days now. My third day is from 6 p.m. until midnight. I run this cycle of days. I get 3 days a day. I calibrate time that way. I look at time that way. I execute that way. I crush you. You work 24-hour days. you're going to get slammed. In today's world, the speed of internet contacts, and you're going to compete against someone like me and the people I teach this to, which comes out on my YouTube video on Monday, so you're getting it first. You better start running mini days, especially those of you, by the way, who do this part-time. You need to really start to calibrate time the way I just told you. A day for you going forward is 6 a.m. to noon. Your second day is noon to 6 p.m. So if some of you are going to be at your job for the first 2 days, you got a brand new day when you leave there, and you're 6 p.m. to noon. If you're going to be a real entrepreneur, real part-time, you bend time. What that does for me is it allows me to measure myself every window, every day. At the end of that day, I measure and adjust and calibrate. I actually have a clock that goes off in my head every hour. To this day, top of every hour, what did I do to execute? What do I need to do to move closer to my goal? What do I need to do to change? It's a little psycho, but it's what I have. If you really want to win, you really want to be very wealthy, if you compete with 24-hour days, because here's what I get. By the time you've run 2 days, I've had 6. Stack up a normal week for you, and I get 21 days. Now stack up a month, stack up a year, stack up 3 years, stack up 5 years, stack up 10 years, and you go from Velcro Mercedes to all that shit you saw in the video.
The meaning we associate to things controls our entire lives. It's not that your mother or father died that's giving you suffering. Certainly. That's painful. It's the meaning you think it shouldn't have happened. And when we take control of the meaning, it's the only thing we can control our lives. We can't control events. And we're living now where technology is happening so rapidly. It's magnificent what it does for our lives. But we all know with that technology, our psychology is not developing as rapidly. And as a result, the world's changing. And there are a lot of us that have learned to engage with technology and use it to maximize most people in this room. There's lots of people who use technology to disengage, to be harmful to themselves and to other people. It's not a one-way street. So I'm interested in how to maximize the psychology side. That's why I'm sharing this with you. So you can increase both your leadership skill, but who do you have to lead first to be effective, my friends? Who? Yourself. And so good to see what's controlling you. Well, what I'm focusing on is controlling me. You can focus on something and make yourself crazy. You can focus on something and make yourself great. In this moment, you could be worried about Ebola, because we all know it's coming. People are freaked out all over the world. 36,000 people die a year of flu, and the whole world is focused on Ebola. Because the news is not designed to inform you, it is designed to startle you. Because that's how you sell things. So if you let someone else take control of your focus, your life will be in someone else's hands. So first decision is what you're going to focus. Second, meaning. My father that day focused that he had to take care of his family. And the meaning was, I know what it was because he said it out loud, that I'm worthless. Now when you come up with a meaning, it produces an emotion. And if you and I want to look at the quality of our life, there's only a way to define it. One way really, that's real. How do you feel every day? If every day of your life you got $1 billion and every day you feel guilty or angry, by the way, nothing worse than an angry rich man or woman. Isn't there? You just want to slap them, don't you? How do you have the right to be angry? They find a way. But if you got $1 billion and you're angry and you're pissed off and you're guilty all the time, what is the quality of your life? Angry, pissed off, and guilty.
Most of you have these stats, but I pulled them because I think they're interesting. Because I'm talking the Old Testament stuff, and you might say, well, that's outdated, and we don't need to hear that. These latest stats say 1,500 pastors leave the ministry permanently each month in America. 1,500 running out the door every month in America alone. That's a lot. people leaving your church a month. 1,500 people, pastors a month. Hey, a month. 4,000 new churches start each year in America. 7,000 churches close each year. If you got 7,000 closing and 4,000 starting, that's them numbers. You've been hearing a lot about pastors and divorces, the big pastors, the big preachers. There's a lot being said about people getting divorced. Oh, bless God. Oh, see, because when you're big and you have a problem, it gets a lot of publicity and people get to tie in and to talk about it like you're an anomaly and like you're an exception. Let me give you some reality check. 50% of pastors' marriages, of pastors' marriages end in divorce. So it's not just the big ones you hear about. It's the little ones too. It's just that when you're big and you get a problem that little people have, they get to kill you for having it. 50%? Gosh, that seems like a lot. That seems like a whole lot of people. 80% of pastors spend under 15 minutes a day in prayer. Maybe that's some of the problem we have. And nearly 60% of pastors secretly want to get out of ministry, but have no way to sustain themselves aside what they're doing it for the benches. The passion is gone. The thrill is gone. They're in the middle of their lives. They can't start over in a new position. They've got too much titles and too much influence, and they're embarrassed to quit, and they're hanging on by a thread. Those are huge statistics. And if those statistics are accurate, then you could assume that there is at least 10% of people in this room are sick of just, oh, praise the Lord. How you doing, friend? I'm doing good. How you doing, man?